happy Customer Service Week. Happy National Customer Service Week. We are here to celebrate you. You all have had a tough year, now going on 2 years. My last in-person workshop before the pandemic was for a contact center in Spokane, Washington. And COVID was around, but we really thought it was concentrated in Seattle. It was kind of bubbling in New York and Mississippi. But we thought at that time, at least that morning, my client and I and a lot of us thought that everything is going to be fine. I did 2 workshops that day, 8 to noon and then 1 to 5. By the time we were in the afternoon session, things were so different. My director was pulled out of the workshop by her vice president and got the news that immediately she was going to have to transition the call center to remote work. And it was like a panic because this is a decision that usually takes years, right? You know that. You're researching, you're benchmarking, you're planning, you're testing, you phase it out. But my client did not get a chance to do that. You probably did not get a chance to transition to remote work. You were thrown into it. And here we are nearly 2 years later, and you're still making it work. Thank you. Thank you for what you have done to keep our companies afloat, to be there for our customers, to be there to support us in these unprecedented times. I cannot imagine how you have done it, but you're doing it, and I appreciate you. And for the frontline employees who had to overnight transition into remote work. You know, the idea of working from home sounds fun, but, if you don't have a door to your office and you've got kids at home and you've got a dog barking, I mean, there's so many things. Your internet is touch and go. It is tough, but you've done it. You continue to do it and you've made it work. Thank you to the frontline employees. My name is Myra Golden, and it is my absolute honor to be with you for National Customer Service Week. I am going to come to you every day this week with ideas on how to be better. Today, for day 1 of Customer Service Week, we are taking on employee appreciation. Let's get started. Let's start with, does employee appreciation really matter? Is this a nice to have, or is it a have to have? My opinion, which is backed by research, is employee appreciation matters. When employees feel recognized and appreciated, they are happy. They are happier employees than if you do not recognize them. Happy employees are invigorated employees, meaning they feel more a sense of rapport with you. They're more engaged. They're more productive. They're more likely to stay with you. Now, let's take a look at the research. I want you to see what the research says about appreciating and recognizing your employees. Happiness, and of course we get to happiness when we recognize, when we appreciate employees. Happiness leads to a 12% spike in productivity. That's according to the University of Warwick. Double-digit increases in productivity when employees feel happy. We get to happy by genuinely and consistently recognizing the accomplishments of our employees. Appreciative leaders are appreciated leaders. This is one of my favorite benefits of appreciating employees. When you share that recognition, when you appreciate your employees on a one-to-one basis, when you do that with the team, when you share your appreciation throughout the organization, you really get the benefits. You're trusted more. Employees are more engaged with you. They are more productive with you. Very, very powerful benefits. Forbes magazine noted 90% of employees who received recognition or thanks from their boss in the past month indicated higher levels of trust than those that did not receive a thank you or recognition within the last 30 days. 90% had a higher level of trust. Among employees who received no recognition within the last 30 days, only 48% indicated that they trusted their higher ups. Look how significant that is. If you give genuine praise every month, because the research is recent, within the last 30 days, you have 90% trust, but that drops down to less than 50% if you don't recognize your employees. When you recognize employees, when you appreciate employees, another benefit is they stick around. They stay with you longer. When asked why they decided to switch to a different career, the vast majority of employees indicated to the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics that they felt either a lack of respect or a lack of autonomy. Yes, appreciation matters, and the research backs that up. Today, for day one of National Customer Service Week, I am breaking down for you 4 ways that you can appreciate your employees. Today, you can appreciate your employees with at least one of these ways. Today, my goal is for you to take 2 items from my list, at least 2, and apply them this very week. So the 4 ways we are going to today learn how to show appreciation to our employees are: we're going to engage in Post-it note therapy. I love this. I found the idea in a book, tried it the very next day, and the benefits were, wow, amazing. We're going to listen to our employees with the intent to understand, and I'm going to take it old school. I'm going to have you, or encourage you, to write handwritten thank you notes to your employees, and then we are going to ask the very important question: how can I, as a leader, make their lives easier? How can I make my employees' lives easier? The first idea for recognizing your employees is Post-it note therapy. Of everything I'm sharing with you today, this one is my favorite. The idea came from Bob Nelson's book, 1001 Ways to Recognize Employees. I was reading the book one day at my desk after 5 p.m. when I stopped on Post-it note therapy. And the idea is super simple. All you need is Post-it notes and a Sharpie or a pen. And what you do is you write a sentence of appreciation for every employee on a Post-it note, and then you stick that Post-it note on their computer after hours so that when they come back in the next day, they are greeted by surprise with your praise. I had a small team at this point, and so what I did is I took 1 note per employee and I wrote the first thing that came to mind when I thought of what I appreciate. So for one employee, it was, I appreciate the energy you bring to the table every day. Another employee, it might be, I love the way you are able to bring down the temperature with our most challenging customers. It may be, Dodie, you are the best proofer that I've ever met. Thank you for making sure our emails and our communications are professional. So I did that for everybody, and the book said 1 Post-it note per employee, but I ended up doing three messages per employee in different colors, and I just stuck them on my employees' computers and had fun doing that, and then left. The next morning, I didn't come straight into the office. I had an out-of-office meeting. So I didn't even get into the office until after 10 a.m. And I'd actually forgotten about what I'd done the night before. But the moment I stepped into my contact center, I could see something was different. The energy, it was concrete. I mean, it was like people were buzzing with excitement. And I thought, what is going on here? Something's different, but what is that? Then I go to my office, and I had an office, my door was closed, and my door was covered with Post-it notes. My employees got so excited about the Post-it note therapy I did for them that every one of my employees, my assistant, the person that went through our mail, everyone on the phones, left notes of praise For me, I mean, I cried. I literally stood there and cried. I immediately go out to the contact center to thank my employees. And what I find is they not only showed appreciation for me, but then they did it for each other. So I left 3 post-it notes per employee, but people had post-it notes everywhere, like on the back of their chair, on the desk, on their phone systems, because everybody then got busy writing post-it notes to each other. And that idea was perhaps the best recognition idea I ever personally implemented. I encourage you to try that. It's called Post-it Note Therapy. Again, that is from Bob Nelson, his book, 1001 Ways to Motivate Employees. So all it takes is a little time. And if you have a large team, it's obviously a bigger commitment, but I had a relatively small team. Try that. This is something you can do this week. You can do this today. All right, my second idea is I want you to listen to your employees with the intent to understand them. Research shows that people are more engaged with you, feel a higher sense of trust, a greater sense of loyalty when they feel listened to and heard, meaning you need to seek their feedback. You need to hold listening sessions, and not just to check this off of your list. You need to do this because you want their feedback. So you're listening, you're leaning in, you are affirming what they're saying, you are validating, and when it makes sense, you are taking action to improve a process or to address a concern. But people notice when you're not listening to them. And I said specifically, listen with the intent to understand. You know, we all listen, but I want to make sure you're not listening with the intent to correct or to respond. This goes back to Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of his habits was listen with the intent to understand. I want to understand your pain point. I want to understand what that is like for you, which means I'm going to have to stop talking and I'm going to have to let you share. I'm going to listen without interrupting and speak only when I feel you are done. And when I do speak, I'm not justifying, I'm not making excuses. I am validating what you have to say. And we talk about next steps, or we talk about the fact that we may need some time to process before we can discuss next steps. But if you want to foster trust and rapport, and you really want happy employees, you have to listen to your employees with the intent to understand them. All right, tip number 3 is we're going old school. I told you I was going to take you old school. Write handwritten notes. What if you just stopped what you were doing in our busy digital world and you wrote thank you notes to employees? Now, here's my final idea for today to make people feel appreciated. I got this idea from one of my clients. We had a meeting where we were talking about creativity. What their culture code includes being creative. And we just come out of a breakout session, and it was the CEO of the organization. And she said, you know, in our group, we discussed always asking the question, how can I make your life easier? Asking customers that. Now, you don't literally ask the question, you're asking yourself, not the other person, but asking, with my customer, how can I make your life easier? With my employee, how can I make your life easier? With your co-workers, this works up and down. So you're asking as a boss, how can I make your life easier? You're asking as a frontline employee, how can I make your life easier? I love everything that is behind that. So if I'm asking how can I make your life easier as a leader, thinking about my employees, I'm thinking about processes. I'm thinking about support. I'm thinking about making you feel heard and understood. All right, there you have it. 4 ideas that you can implement this week, even today. I challenge you to take 2 items from this list and apply them this week. Post-it note therapy is perhaps the easiest, but all of these ideas are quick and fairly easy to implement. Appreciate your employees and you'll bring the energy level up. You'll up the happiness factor and you'll boost retention. Your team will trust you more. All right. I will see you tomorrow. Day 2, we are focusing on agent training and retention.